So this frog looks like it's frozen solid and like it died a long time ago. It sort of did and sort of didn't. And it may hold humanity's clue to our next stage in evolution. So this frog, every winter, it freezes solid. And when it freezes solid, it stops its own heart from beating. It stops breathing. It even shuts down all of its brain activity. So by every measure that we have, this thing isn't alive anymore. And yet every spring, when the temperature rises and it thaws out, it has the ability to literally resurrect itself. And I love this example. It's so cool because it's an example of something that we would consider fundamental to life being taken away, and you have every reason to bet against this thing's survival. And yet it beats the odds and it does it. Now, without getting too doom and gloom, I am pretty convinced that if we're not headed towards something that could threaten our species, I think that there's at least a high probability with AI and some of the things that are going on. And so I think that this example is actually really important for us to understand. So the thing underlying all of this, it's like a nature thing. It's not so much this particular frog, but nature adapts to what should kill it. It's antifragile. So we've got this frog, which is called the wood frog. And nature is full of this, right? A camel is another classic example where it can go weeks without water. So you take something away that life should have, and it adapts to where it doesn't need it anymore. The pattern is that this threat, this obstacle, it forces a new adaptation, a new ability out of life. Now, I said earlier that there's a threat coming on the horizon, and I think everybody feels this to some extent or another. It's obviously not an asteroid. It's AI, it's technology is coming in fast. And the main threat that we're facing, it's not a physical thing. I think it's a mental thing. The world stops making sense. So it takes some effort to track reward. There's a really great article that I read this morning by my friend that talks about this that I'll link below, and it talks about coherence a lot. And it's not a word that we usually hear, but I think that the loss of this thing is potentially the greatest threat that humanity's facing. So what does that even mean? Well, coherence is this sense that the world it's legible. It makes sense. That if I put forward some kind of an effort, that I can predict what the consequence is going to be, that there's some sense in the world. And I think you don't have to have very much of a conversation with people to find out that this feels like it's breaking down, that the things that used to make sense when it came to the American dream, for example, for those living in the US, or you put in a certain amount of effort and you're going to get something out, or government or corporations or any of this stuff actually making sense, politics, war, it all seems to be crumbling in a sense. We're moving very quickly, and the old paradigms, the old rules that we used to rely on aren't working anymore. And this results in more than just frustration. Like, this actually leads to some pretty scary statistics. So, a couple numbers. About 50,000 US suicides in 2023. It's the second leading cause of death of people between the ages of 10 and 34. And I'm pretty sure in the UK, it is the leading cause of death, especially for men. And loneliness, here's an interesting stat, is linked to roughly 100 deaths an hour worldwide. So these are the visible tolls, and these are deaths, which is the most serious consequence of this. But mental health disorders, loneliness was mentioned, but everybody is more separate. This coherence of which involves relationships as well is starting to fade. So here's the hopeful part of all this. That frog, it didn't just develop the ability to do all this overnight. It had to wait probably millions of years for nature to hand it these abilities, or for it to develop these abilities. But because our obstacle is not physical, it's mental, we have the ability to adapt pretty quickly if we want to. So this really comes down to our mind. It's what software are we running? Now here's another really cool plot twist in our favor, I think. So bacteria have this really wild ability to pass along their superpowers, literally, to their neighbors. So I talked in another video about how bacteria can be exposed to a bunch of poison, and if they can survive that poison, they can develop immunity, resistance, and they're no longer susceptible to that poison anymore. It's the classic, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The coolest part, in my opinion, of this is that whatever ability that they developed in that process, be it some kind of extra strong outside membrane, or maybe it's like a pump that pumps poison out of the cell once something tries to come in. Whatever that is, it's encoded on DNA. And what they found that bacteria can do is they can take this DNA and it makes a loop. So imagine like a loop of DNA, and they can package it up, and they can literally inject it into their neighbors, into the neighbor bacteria. And those bacteria never saw the poison. And if they take it up and they integrate it, they can get that same superpower. And then they're impervious to the poison as well, which I just find fascinating. But the crazy thing is that if you think about it, we can do the same thing. That these superpowers, when it comes to the power of your mind, and your mind controls everything from your body to your career, your friends, pretty much every circumstance in your life is a lagging indicator to the quality of your mind. With your mind, you can do just about anything. So it's very important to know what programs that we're running on our mind, right? And when you encounter interesting people that have overcome things, that have faced challenges and beat them, it's usually the case that they're running a very interesting program. And people spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to integrate these programs too. So our equivalent of that bacterial transfer of superpowers is the medium of communication that we have. So like classic example, modern day example would be someone like David Goggins. If you don't know who he is, check him out. But he used to be this 300-pound obese young man, no hope, by his own admission, not intelligent, didn't have a lot of skills. And then within a relatively short period of time, he's became a Navy SEAL. He was running these insane races, got into cutting shape and authoring books and doing all sorts of just insane stuff, like a superhuman from where he came from. And now he makes a living talking about just the programs that he's running in his mind. And so if you go into YouTube right now or you buy one of his books, that's literally you taking in this, the equivalent of that bacterial superpower. You can start to absorb some of this. Of course, you can get it through podcasts and YouTube videos. Two more that I would mention that I think are just solid examples would be Viktor Frankl. And Viktor Frankl wrote a very famous book called Man's Search for Meaning. And he was in one of the Nazi concentration camps. This guy went through the equivalent of poison on a bacteria. I mean, this was one of the hardest experiences that a human being can go through. And the programs that this guy ended up creating in that fire of experience, he put into this book. And anybody can read it. Anybody can incorporate it. And the second one that I'll just mention is Alexander Solzhenitsyn, which is kind of a mouthful, but he was a Russian and he lived in the gulags. And so similar to Viktor Frankl, he lived in one of the worst circumstances imaginable. And he wrote books about this as well. It had some fascinating mind programs. One program that I'll mention is that he said that the line between good and evil is drawn down the heart of every person, every human. And by doing that, he circumvents a lot of the mind programs that really throw people off, like tribalism. It's when you project out and you see all the evil out there, but you're not looking at it in here. And that's one way that people cope with their own darkness. And it causes so many problems. But again, it's just an example of somebody that went through hell, came out the other side, and now has treasures for your mind. Okay, so the main points here. You don't have to hit rock bottom to get the antibody. You can find the people who went to hell, came back, and have meaning, and you can take that and incorporate it into your own life. Now, the bacteria probably does it blind, but we get to choose. We get to choose our evolution. So I don't know what stuff that you're going through, but whatever it is that you're going through, whatever level of, whatever depth of difficulty this is, you were built for this. You were built to overcome it. It's an opportunity. This is your fire. And if you face it, you can develop the superpowers that you need, that other people need. And if you're not going through hell, then find the people that have and claim your superpowers.